I was last year still answering emails at 12 in the morning.
I thought every client wants to talk to me.
I thought I could just do it the best. I was like, they want to know from me. They're asking my personal recommendation. That was a limiting belief of mine that only I could do that. I needed someone else to care about my business at the same level as what I do. Trust, communication, and transparency is like key. Customers love it so much that they are now doing that for me in the comments.
What do you think the reason is that your team has been so successful? Bella, thanks for joining me on Built to Lead.
Hey, thanks for having me.
We've had a lot of really successful founders on the podcast so far, and I'm so excited to be adding you into the mix today. You're the founder of mycavoodle, and you're still really in that growth phase, which I'm loving watching the journey of that. We actually met probably 18 months ago, I think, on at the founders table, and I slid into your DMs and I was like, oh my God, what are you going to wear?
I love that. It was so good.
Broke the ice a little bit, but since then we've been really good friends. And I now support you in your business with one of our VAs, which is amazing. We'll chat about that later. But I wanted to talk to you because you've built $1 million brand with an extremely small team, as well as still having to balance time with your young family, which I really resonate with because I'm in that season as well. I think there's a lot of things that people can learn from what you're creating, so I'm excited to get into that. Before we do, give the listeners a really quick overview of yourself and mycavoodle.
Yeah, so my name's Bella Moro, and I started mycavoodle almost 5 years ago now. And I started it because I was actually working in corporate. I was a corporate marketing manager. Built my way up, built a team there, and I absolutely loved it. I was earning good money. By the time I left, I was earning 6 figures, and it was very, very comfortable. It's basically what I wanted to do, but I still felt a little bit unfulfilled.
Yeah.
And I always knew I wanted to start my own business one day, but I never knew what it was. And so when I bought home mycavoodle Bambi during COVID, I had this problem where I couldn't find a good shampoo and conditioner on the shelf.
Yeah.
And so it actually brought back this memory that I had as a child when I actually had a cavoodle when I was 11 years old. And we had the exact same issue that the products that we used to use actually used to make me itchy.
Yeah.
And she used to scratch a lot. And we used to have problems with grooming and things like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was in these community Facebook pages, as you do when you get a new puppy.
Yeah.
And everyone was asking the same question. And they were saying, what's the best shampoo and conditioner to use on your cavoodle puppy? And there were all these different answers. There was never like one trusted brand.
Yeah.
And so I started, it just like gave me this idea, and I was like, why has no one started a brand just for cavoodles and niching it really down? And I, really love podcasts, and I was listening to so many, and the idea also came kind of from that and niching so,
You've done it well, I must say. You've done it really well.
Thank you. People probably like, why would you niche that much? But honestly, it's been a game changer, and I know who I'm talking to, like my target audience. And so, I started building the brand, started researching, started, looking at manufacturers. It took me about 6 to 8 months to formulate my hero products, which are the shampoo and conditioners, manufacture them in Australia.
Wow.
And basically launched it, and I just haven't looked back. After, I think it was 12, 13 months, I quit my corporate job.
Yep.
And I ran this full time, and I haven't looked back. Pretty much. And now today, I'm running quite a small, lean team. Got to 7 figures last year.
Wow.
Cracked it, which was super exciting.
So exciting.
Yeah. And so that's kind of like the journey today. And now it's like, okay, how do I scale to the next stage?
Yeah. I think this is why you and I are good friends, because our stories are very similar in the fact that we were working in corporate Sydney and we were like, we don't want to do this anymore. How do we get out of this? And then we found a problem, and we just niched in on that and went for it, and it really paid off. So
for sure.
Yeah. Talk to me about your team, because I think when you're starting, you're doing everything, you're trying to figure out if what you're doing is going to work. And then you realize, oh my God, I can't do this myself. What does your team look like now?
Okay. So probably to tell you what it looks like now, probably got to tell you how it was at the start.
Yeah, let's go back to the start.
But I was doing everything myself at the start. So managing full-time work and doing literally everything myself. Marketing, sales, ordering, customer service, everything. from 9 to 5 I'd work, and from 5 to midnight I would be doing everything else pretty much. And so that was me up until probably end of 2023, and then I realized I need to start looking at hiring someone. And the beginning of 2024 I fell pregnant.
Yep.
And I was like, oh crap, it hit me then, the most it ever had. And I was like, I really need someone to bring into my business and help me. And I didn't know whether that was like a VA or someone like onshore, but obviously I couldn't like afford that much still in the business. And so I let it go, and I was like, no, I'll keep pushing through doing it myself. But I had a really like sick pregnancy. I was really fatigued in bed for months. And I couldn't get up. It was, but my business was still growing very organically, which was great. But then I got to a certain point when my son was born that I definitely knew that I needed to bring someone on. And I made my first hire, which was a VA in the Philippines, but I did it independently. And there were things that I did not know enough to do that. And so it didn't end up working out. So I ended up getting a Agent Sync VA.
Nice little plug there.
Yeah, that's it. And so he's still in my team now. So he was actually, that was my second hire.
Yes,
actually.
It was, wasn't it?
Amelia, my content girl, was my first hire. She's actually here with us today. Give her a little plug. She was my first hire after we sat down at the founders table, and I realized there was so much value in content and filming yourself. And, everyone's into reality TV these days. So it's like following your story, telling a really good story, which is how I kind of build my brand organically anyway. So I was like, I need to get someone in to film what I'm doing on an everyday basis. And so she came in and we started that. And then I literally hired a VA not long after that. So they've been with me for quite a while now. And then after that, I started hiring more contractors. So built it up that way. So I started hiring email contractors. I hired contractors that can just help me with marketing and little bits and pieces here. So that's with events, partnerships, customer engagement kind of thing on socials as well. Then I had to outsource my ads management as well because I just did not have the time anymore. And I've outsourced branding, marketing, and I've kept these contractors on though within the business on a regular. But now I'm at a stage where I've built all that. That's great. But now I need to like scale and expand and kind of expand my team even more. So I needed a doppelganger of me, Bella 2.0. So I put a ad out for that, and I actually attracted all this amazing talent. I didn't think that existed. I wanted a unicorn, basically. I wanted someone who could do an all-rounder job, everything, but also owned a cavoodle. So it was a lot to ask for and lived locally to me as well. Anyways, I found her. So I'm bringing on my first onshore operations assistant this month as well.
That's so exciting. Is she a contractor? Is she
No,
employee?
She will be a full-time employee. And one thing I actually did forget to mention, I do employ my mum as well to look after my child so that I can work. Which so I don't have to send him to daycare.
Yeah, which is so interesting because a lot of people wouldn't do that. I do a similar thing in my business, but I think people underestimate when you've got a child how much work goes into that while running a business. Like everyone knows running a business is hard and having kids is hard. When you put the two together, it's like just crazy. What was the reasoning behind hiring all these contractors, do you think?
I think I just didn't want the full-time commitment of paying someone an onshore salary. It just wasn't affordable. When I ran my numbers, I realized that I needed a quick out if I needed it. Not that I to be honest, I've retained all of them anyway, so I haven't needed to, but it's just more business is always fluctuating. Like you have really, really good months and then, some months are a bit slower, and especially in e-commerce and things like that. So I just like to mitigate my risk
Yeah.
in the business. And I think that's how I've been able to get as far as I have bootstrapped.
Yeah.
I've never taken $1 of an investment. It's all been from my 10K investment. I've built it to a 7-figure brand myself or on my cash flow.
Yeah.
And thanks to American Express too.
Yeah. Another plug.
I love that.
We love the Amex and the points.
So good, so good. I think every business owner does. But yeah, so I think it was just a way to know peace of mind that if I had to, turn off a contractor and pick something up myself, I could if I needed to.
And they understand that as well because they're contractors. They would have other clients. They can pick up more work elsewhere. But I think having people that specialize in certain areas is hugely underestimated because I do the same in my business. Like I started with, full-time and part-time, obviously virtual assistants, but they're very much in specialized roles where I think in Australia when you go, I need someone maybe full-time admin, they're very limited in what they can do. Whereas if you've got people that are like Amelia, she's a content creator. You're not trying to get her to do email marketing, content, ads, Google ads, all these things.
Yeah.
Everyone's in their lane. And I think if you've got a bad month and you can, you've got to not stop your email marketing, but you've got to give it a go yourself for a little bit. So much easier.
No, that is so true. And I've actually had really good results with doing that and finding those specialized contractors. I think that actually has helped my business grow to where it is as well. Like my email guy, he's amazing. The team works around the clock. I got him to get me an email within 24 hours on the weekend.
Yeah, nice.
Like normal 9-to-5 job employees don't do that. Like my VA does that and my contractors do it, but you can't really expect that all the time from like a 9-to-5 employee on shore sometimes, unless they're super driven and motivated like I used to be.
It is possible, It's just, it's hard to find. Talk to me about the operations manager that you've got coming in. That's really exciting.
She's actually a young girl. She's coming from a background, she actually, I don't know if I can say it, but Macca's.
Yeah.
And she's actually worked her way up. She started there when she was 14.
Yeah.
She's only like turning 19 this month.
Yeah.
She's very switched on, can handle a fast-paced environment.
Yeah.
She's managed rosters, inventory and stocking and things like that. And her energy was just amazing. When I sat down with her, it's like that yes person that is happy to try and learn anything.
Yeah, great.
Which is exciting because that's definitely what my business needs at this stage.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. When did you realize you needed to make your first hire?
Definitely when I had my son.
Yeah.
It was just that desperation.
Yeah.
It was absolute desperation. I was like, I can no longer do everything myself.
Yeah.
I was doing that for so long because my husband would probably call me a control freak in certain
I think
things.
you've got to be when you're a business owner.
You do. Yeah, you do. But one lesson that I definitely have learned over time is letting go, because if you don't, you're just holding yourself back.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that I was like so desperate. I didn't have the time. I was sleep deprived. I was like, I need to give something up. And it had to give. So that was definitely the point where I made my first hire, and I just haven't stopped hiring people after that. I was like, if I can delegate it and if someone can do it better than me, then I'm giving it away.
And that's the perfect mindset to have, honestly.
Yeah. But you struggle to get there to that mindset.
Yeah.
It takes a long time. It took me a lot of podcasts, a lot of talking to different people, like people like you, or people that have built businesses, like, and they're ahead of me and they're saying these things, and eventually it starts clicking.
Absolutely. And then you talk to someone that's still doing everything and you're like, what are you, crazy?
Yeah, I'm like, go talk to Jess. She's a VA. Literally, that was me yesterday.
You are a great referrer. I love that. So when you start delegating, obviously you've got to have some systems in place. Did you find it hard to get all of that knowledge out of your head, start to delegate? But what systems did you put in place? Because I think it's really important for people to understand that, it does take time and you've got to have some systems in place. Your team can also help you build those systems. But how did you start that transition, and what tools did you use?
Yeah. It's not my strong point, to be honest. That is something I'm still learning in the business, and I'm still learning from other business owners as well, and asking them and looking at, hey, how are you running things behind the scenes? Because a lot of people don't tell you that.
No.
Like, you look in and you think, oh, this business, it's so great. They're doing so well. They're making $1 million. But then at the same time, my systems at the back, like, I knew how corporate used to be run.
Yeah.
We had everything filed and, there were drives and everything like that. A startup does not run like that. And it's still, even at your first $1 million, it's still not like that.
Yeah.
I'm still learning how to be organized. And that's what this ops person is going to help me, is to like tame my chaos.
Yeah.
Because I'm like everywhere in the business.
Yeah.
And so I said to her, I need you to help me and organize like myself and the business as well. So we're still learning that. But it is really important. Like I actually know that it is super important because you can't scale without those systems and procedures and, platforms and people.
Yeah.
So that's actually what I'm learning and working on right now.
Awesome. I love your honesty around that. And I think it's super important that people understand that, our businesses are really messy behind the scenes as well. But when you make that first hire that can start to organize that for you, they can build it for you. I think so many people get stuck in not starting with delegating or bringing on team because they're like, how am I going to systemize this? Get that person. That's what you're hiring them for.
It's actually so true. I remember asking you the same question. I was like, I'm not organized yet. I need to put everything in a document. And when he was like, it's fine, just get him on, start him, get him to document the processes. You teach him how to do it and he'll learn on the go. And so that's what I actually ended up doing. I just bit the bullet, did it. And so, he's put systems and processes in place and documented certain things for me as well. So we can always do better, but it's a start at least that he can train someone else now. It doesn't have to be just me now doing that. And we're always tweaking, systems or, customer service or anything like that, replies and, hey, how can we do this better next time? And
perfect.
It's always,
and I think that is one of the secrets to scaling a business. It's if you've got people that can build the systems, when you make that next hire, it's not on you to train them because it's all there. So you're doing well, don't worry.
Thank you.
Okay. Where do you think you draw the line between this needs a system and this needs a person?
Good question. I figured this out with testing out AI, actually.
Yeah, okay.
Bringing that into the conversation. When we sat down at the founders table, 18 months ago, AI was starting to become like a really big topic. And it was like, it'll be able to do this, 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 and this. And I was like, oh my God, this sounds amazing. I can scale lean. I don't need people. I can probably get apps and platforms to do all that. And then I realized it's not always up to scratch.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of great ones out there. When you do find them, it's amazing, but you still need people to manage it.
Totally.
You can't, it's not like you can just ask it to set up everything. I don't know. I haven't tested that clawbot theory yet. I don't know about that yet. But like you still need people to manage the platforms and the apps and put the systems in place. It just doesn't do it by itself.
Totally.
It doesn't think by itself,
And if you don't have someone to manage that, then it's back on you to make sure it's working, it's doing the right thing.
Exactly. Yeah. That's right.
What has surprised you the most about bringing on team members?
I think it's my own learnings to learn to let go of that control and delegate. And I think one thing that I've been pretty good at and I've learnt, it hasn't just happened overnight, if there's not enough work and you're like, oh my God, I'm like overpaying them or now something like that, you have to learn to actually go find the work and give them the work.
Yeah.
And it's like staying calm in that moment when you're like, money's running out the door, it needs to come in, and you don't just quickly turn off the tap. So it's like a lot of people I'm sure would stress and be like, money's burning, turn off the tap, turn it off, get rid of them.
Absolutely.
I haven't needed to luckily be in that position where I've had to do that, but also when I do get in that mindset, I just think to myself, why am I thinking like that? And I bring it back to myself and I say, okay, what can we do to make more revenue? What are the activities? We're not working on the right activities then, if that's the case. If I'm thinking like that, I need to change my thinking and we need to start working on tasks and activities that are revenue driving, and we need to just turn off all those other things that are keeping us super distracted right now.
I love that you think like that because you're right, so many people think, oh, what are the invoices that I can just cut straight away?
Yeah.
Those team members should be helping you make more money.
Yes.
And if they're not, there's a problem. Like, it's all good and well to have a VA or two that's doing that back end stuff that isn't revenue generating. But if you've got people on your team that can be, like, that's how you scale a business.
Yeah. But even like I've had a chat with JC and I need to say, okay, how can we do better in our customer service emails that if someone is asking for recommendations, they're literally asking for us to sell to them.
Yeah.
So, maybe not recommend just one product, but give them options, find out their problems first and give them a solution. So if their cavoodle, is experiencing, a dry coat, a smelly coat, they're getting knots and things like that, well, then maybe our leave-in conditioner is going to be great because it's going to help get those knots out, but then recommend our slicker brush. But then also do an add-on and be like, after that, maybe you should try the shampoo and the cologne or put it into one of our bigger bundles. Do they need a dryer? Like, that's a massive AOV upsell kind of thing.
Yeah, totally.
But just fixing their problem is the main thing.
Oh, totally. And you could even do some outreach to, past customers.
Yeah.
And like just on
That's so
Instagram,
true.
just go and jump into their DMs and be like, hey, like, how's it all going? How's, I'm sure they've got their dog's name on their Instagram. How's Bonnie going? Start a little chat. That might not pay off right now, but in a few months' time, they'll be like, oh, Bella was chatting. And you could totally get a VA to do that. But Bella was chatting to me in the DMs, like all that stuff wouldn't pay off right now. Yeah. But it's revenue generating thing.
ROI kind of investment.
Totally.
Yeah. No, but that does work. It does. And in the DMs and like doing those chats.
Yeah.
It does convert actually really well. So
and you were doing that right at the start, not the DMs, but Facebook groups. I was listening to like that paid off massively for you.
Yeah, I was a stealth mode in like Facebook groups. I used to see that post where people would be like, what's the best shampoo and conditioner for my cavoodle? And I'd see that and I'd be like, oh my God, we need to get my cavoodle in those comments because it will literally help this person and their cavoodle. So I would actually, because then if it comes sometimes from the owner, it feels a bit forced. So I'd used to ask my friends and things like that or my family who obviously know about the products to then go in and recommend. And after a while, I actually didn't have to do that anymore because my customers love it so much that they are now doing that for me in the comments. And so some of my team actually screenshot that and sent it to me and be like, oh my God, look at this nice review or message in the comments, how they're talking about how they love my cavoodle and they love the products and it's helped their cavoodle so much with, making the coat soft and smell nice and knot free, which is really nice to hear.
Yeah, so nice. So you've obviously built this sort of cult following of cavoodle owners, which I love. As you've grown and scaled your business and you've brought in other people to help you in the team, how's it been having to let go of that one-on-one communication with customers and relying on the team to do that for you? That's something that I struggled massively with. I thought every client wants to talk to me. No, they don't, as long as they're being looked after. But it was a huge shift for me. How was it for you?
Yeah, that one was a hard one. Yeah. I was last year still answering emails at 12 in the morning.
Yeah.
While I had a newborn.
Yeah.
My husband was sleeping next to me in bed and I was just like plugging away on my laptop trying to get to everybody's emails because I thought I could just do it the best. Yeah. I was like, they want to know from me. They're asking my personal recommendation and opinions and, I know I can only do this. I only know how to answer this, which wasn't true. Now that I know that, I've delegated that to my VA.
Yeah.
And he's amazing.
Yeah.
We get so many messages because I'm still across it. I've still got the inbox in my system, but we use a platform called Gorgeous, which he works from and he gets all the emails and DMs and comments and things like that. So he works out of there, but I still see the inbox and I see the replies from the customers and they're like, thank you so much for all this information, JC. This is amazing, the service and I'm so impressed and I'll definitely, refer you to a friend. And so it's not, I think that was a limiting belief of mine that only I could do that. I needed someone else to care about my business at the same level as what I do. And he does that because he actually has a cavoodle in the Philippines too, which is really cool. It is really wild. So that's like that was like a massive tick for me.
Yeah.
So he actually understands their problems. He understands the problems that these cavoodle owners have. So he can actually speak to them and recommend our products. I sent him a whole bunch of our products and he's used them all and he loves them. And so he can actually talk to the customer service.
Yeah.
like any of the emails that come through, which is amazing. So having that peace of mind, finding the right person is super important, who you put in the role, because then it's all about trust. At the end, trust, communication, and transparency is like key. I did have that independent VA that I was telling you about. I actually did hire her to take the customer service away from me earlier, and I couldn't hand it over.
Yeah, you weren't ready.
I wasn't ready. There was something in my gut that was like, you know, she didn't have a cavoodle. There were things that, you know, red flags, and I was just like, nah, I'm not ready to hand it over. But then as soon as JC came on board and I knew he understood the problems that my customers do have, I was like, okay, I need to give it to him. And I did. And I haven't looked back. I don't even answer customer emails anymore. He does it on behalf of me. So if there's anything he needs flagged, he'll just flag it with me on WhatsApp or anything like that.
And I think that's from there. When you start with, whether it be a VA or just anyone in general, you can't expect them to know everything straight away. You have to hire for like absolutely skill set and experience, but it's going to take time for them to actually get up to speed with the products and everything. But if they're passionate and, you know, you can train them on the actual product. So fun fact, JC used to work for agency, well, for me.
I stole him.
Then, pretty much. But how aligned are you two? Like Cavoodle, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And I saw he recently had a photo shoot done with his cavoodles. It's so cute. Oh, love him. Okay, what do you think the reason is that your team has been so successful?
That's a really good question. I think I've really tried to hire on values just as much as skills to a point.
Yeah.
And energy. Energy is like a really big thing for me. It sounds a bit like fluff.
No, I get it.
It sounds a bit like airy-fairy, like, oh, what's she talking about? But you just know when you're in a room with someone whether they're draining your energy or feeding your energy.
Yeah.
And the people that I like to work with feed my energy.
Yeah.
There are so many things already as a business owner that drain our energy.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're faced with so many problems on an everyday basis. So having someone who is just as positive as you are and who can find solutions to problems is like a whole nother level.
Totally.
Like, just to give you an example, I've been having, you know, a bit of a hard couple weeks. And so one of my team members, I love voice notes. We always send each other voice notes about things because it's quick and easy. But I sent her a message and I was a bit overwhelmed with all these tasks and people coming to me. And she replied back and she goes, "Hey, hun, you sound a little bit overwhelmed. I can feel your energy. Just remember, like, you're amazing. You can do it. Like, I know you've got a lot on your plate." I know I'm going to cry. I was like, and so no one tells you how to be a good person.
Yeah.
So just hiring good people, and she's so positive and she's got such good energy that when you're having those hard times as a business owner, you want those good people around you.
Totally.
It is so important because if you have a negative person around you, and I saw this firsthand in my corporate job. That's actually part of the reason why I left at the end.
Yeah, wow.
They started hiring people that weren't as values-based and their energy and it was very negative.
Yep.
Let's just say that. And it started filling the office with negative space.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, I need out.
Yeah.
Like, because you just get drained to go in every day. So I'd say that's the most important.
You can have the most experienced person for the role, but if they don't have that energy, that changes everything.
Or if they treat people like shit.
Yeah.
There was a guy in corporate, like he was, well, probably on level, but he was older than me, much older. But we both were in similar management roles where we both reported to directors just in our own spaces. You know, he was in like a procurement field. I was in a marketing field. I had my own team. He couldn't really keep a team under him because he was so mean.
Yeah.
He would just shit on everybody. It was really bad. And his energy, like everyone in the company knew, like they would either get backstabbed by him or anything like that. And so even though he had such great skills, as a person, he was toxic.
Yeah.
Very toxic. Towards the end, there was so many complaints about him.
Wow.
And it actually changed the company dynamics that they did end up having to get rid of him.
Wow.
Like, so it is really important because that fed a lot of toxicity.
Do you think that helped shape the leader that you are today?
Oh, for sure. that experience with those difficult people, it really helped me build a backbone.
Yeah.
Like there was in that meeting with him and a director, he actually hung up on us
Wow.
both because I was 23, 24 at the time. Obviously, I was quite young in this management role, leading a team, and I was making, pretty high strategic decisions and reporting to directors and stuff of millions of dollars of this company, national company. And I just put a question to him, and he didn't like what I had to say, honestly, just being very transparent and honest about his behavior. And he hung up on our call. And you know what? It was the best thing having to deal with these hard people in life. It's made me so resilient.
Yeah.
And I've learned how to deal with these people now. And it's like, well, you avoid them.
Yeah. If you can. You don't hire them.
You don't hire them. Don't get them in your business.
Yeah.
And you know what? If they're not willing to play ball, other people are. And you just don't need that around you. So
how do you show up every day for your team to be a better leader?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Some days I feel like I'm failing because I'm just so busy, and motherhood has obviously really changed what my days do look like.
Yeah.
I'm running a 7-figure business on 3 days a week.
Oh, wow.
Full time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have my mum to help me on like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday situation. And during those days, it is just non-stop multitasking and trying to give my team as much as possible from me in that. So meetings, WhatsApps, getting back to Slack channels, actioning anything they need from me in that moment that I have to physically do myself.
Yeah.
Every other day after that, I am working between naps. I'm getting up at 5 a.m. and starting before my baby or my husband gets up for the day. I am working late at night. I'm doing stuff on my phone in bed or my laptop. I do stuff on weekends or even when I'm playing with my child, wherever we go. I'm quickly sending a WhatsApp message here or sending a voice note there. So it is constantly nonstop, and I do try to give them my all. But yeah, it does eventually burn you out. So you've got to balance it as well and just be like, okay, I'm switching off tonight, and I do like to now, put on do not disturb at times with my phone when I want to be completely present with my son or my family.
Yeah.
So, or on holidays, I actually completely switched off for 2 weeks when we went to Dubai at the beginning of the year. And that was like a really good reminder that my business and team can run on its own and it doesn't just need me. So next goal is to do 4 weeks instead of 2 weeks without me.
So those 2 weeks, you completely had no communication with your team?
I didn't open my laptop overseas. I bring it with me, but I didn't open it. Which was interesting.
Yeah.
I still did stuff on my phone, like voice notes and messages and getting back to people, but not really any physical sit-down work. No.
Yeah, I love that. I think a lot of business owners would be like, what? Like the business is going to fall apart if I'm not there, if I'm not working.
I've definitely had those thoughts, but the way that I've wanted to set it up is quite strategic. I obviously thought about starting this 5 years ago now. And the whole reason I wanted to start this business in the first place was because I wanted to be home with my son and not be forced back to work. You know, obviously I found a solution and a problem and, it was around my first fur baby as well.
Yeah.
But that was like the underlying solution to the problem that I saw where when someone had a child, they had to come back to the workforce and they weren't happy with that decision.
Yeah.
And they were working for someone else and you don't really have a lot of flexibility and say. And then I realized business owners would have that. And, that's why I chose e-commerce because you don't have to physically be working there and then at a computer. You can do it whenever you like. I can open the computer at midnight. I can open it at 5 a.m. My customers will wait for me to get back to them. You know, there's not like I have to sit down and that's the only time they can do, you know. So it's given me like a lot of flexibility and stuff as well. So that's kind of like designing the business around my lifestyle. And so building those systems to be able to say, I'm taking these 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
And so, my team knew they had a break too. A lot of them actually had a break.
Yeah.
There were only certain people on.
Yeah.
And my VA was having taking over my customer service. So that was like the main thing. But things were still running in the background that I didn't need to be there for. if I was there, would I see maybe more? Yes, but I would have burnt myself out working all the way through. So there is a bit of sacrifice sometimes as well.
I think it's actually really good for a business owner to not have any communication, go away for a week or 2 weeks. You'll quickly learn what needs fixing because things will break. People, if they know that you're not contactable, they'll be like, I've actually got to figure out what to do here. And they'll work it out. And if they can't work it out, they'll find a solution. They'll do something, because I think so many team members rely on that leader being there and being, not too present, but too accessible. So I think to have those boundaries.
You can put buffers in place as well. So like I gave him, like if we've got a problem and it's up to the value of whatever, $100, I could increase it to more, like fix it.
Yeah,
whatever it takes to get that customer back on board, loving us, and just fix the problem that they have.
Yep.
And let them go off remembering that,
you fixed it.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. How do you continue to improve as a leader?
I think one thing I've learned is that you should never stop learning.
Yeah.
That's like my main takeaway. If I can give any younger business owner, startup advice, or if you're not there yet, you need to continue to learn. And part of that learning is also networking.
Yeah.
It's like part of the learning, which I was doing a lot of the learning, but I wasn't doing a lot of the networking.
Yeah.
And so when you combine the both, it's like magic.
Yeah.
It just, everything starts clicking. And one of my downfalls is I'm such a yes person, but it's also one of my biggest strengths as well, because I say yes to opportunities that pop up. And I try to make it work no matter what. And I'll like kill myself to make it work, basically.
I think we're very similar in that sense. We're like, there's this thing on, should we go? Okay, let's do it.
Exactly. I told Jess, oh my God, we can fly up to Queensland and be on a Lamborghini. We're doing it. Like, exactly. So I think being open-minded, and it's like taking mitigated risks, learning things you don't know, learning them first, and then you can delegate and hand them over, because then you have the skills and the knowledge and the peace of mind to then hand it over.
Yeah.
Knowing that if that person does wrong by you, you can always take that back or give it to someone else. I think a lot of people trust blindly sometimes as well. Like they think someone else is going to fix their problems. No one is going to fix your problems besides from you in life.
Yep.
Like you have to fix your own problems. You can get people to help you, but you need to be able to find the solution that works for you at the end of the day.
Totally. And I think that's where a lot of business owners go wrong, especially when they're outsourcing, whether it be to onshore or offshore. They don't actually know, just say it's Facebook ads.
Yeah.
They don't know. And it's, you shouldn't learn how to do, say, Facebook ads so you do it. It's like you need to know
the basics.
So you can tell if someone's actually doing their job or not.
Correct.
And you can waste so much money by just throwing money at a solution without actually understanding.
But you got to learn to understand. So like I don't do my accounting. I'm not very good at that stuff. No. Like, time consuming. If anyone is doing that, give it away to a proper accountant. That would be my first advice. That was actually, I forgot to say, that was one of my first hires as well, an accountant. So things like that, just hand those kind of things over as well that you just don't understand, but be across it.
Yeah.
Like have a high level across that you can go then and dig and find if something comes up, if there's a red flag or even an orange flag, you can be like, oh, wait, what's happening here? Go have a look. Do your own research because you know enough of the background and be like, okay, this needs to be fixed, and tell that person how you want it to be fixed sometimes, or get them to tell you how they're going to fix it.
Yeah, totally. I'd love to talk about your marketing for a minute and your marketing team. When we met at the founders table, I had a look at your page and mycavoodle, and I was going through everything, and then really from that moment, as I started following you, I was like, wow, her marketing's getting better and better. And you started leaning into the founder-led content, which we know is huge at the moment. Talk to me about your marketing team. I know Amelia's here today, which is amazing, taking some B-roll and some footage. But what has that transition look like for you in terms of marketing? Because I think if we can give something for the listeners to take away today, obviously team is amazing, but marketing is huge, and it's done really well for you. And, you are a marketing girly from way back. But what could business owners learn from you about marketing?
To trial and test things and just get over themselves.
Yeah.
Like, just get over yourself. Put your face on the camera. No, it is hard for some people. I totally understand that. I've had to do a lot of self-development work to get to where I am today.
Yeah.
When I started the business, I didn't really have my face on camera. Mind you, I was 35 kilos heavier.
You were, yes.
Yeah. So I wasn't as confident.
You look amazing.
Oh, thank you. And so eventually I had to just say to myself, I am hurting my business because I'm not doing what I know it needs. And a lot of people are still in that kind of rut that they think people are going to judge them.
Yep.
And it does happen. I'm sure people are judging me hard.
Whatever. We don't hear it.
You have to learn not to care.
Yeah.
It's like letting go. And I'm a very, I'm an empath. So I do really care what people think of either me, my business. But I've had to learn that what they think should not determine my actions. That's kind of like the underlying stuff of the marketing, I'd say, like that you have to kind of get over to then find the gold and do the work. But like you said, founder content is so important. There's ways around that if you don't like to show your face. I was talking to a business owner who was like, we don't want to show our face at all. Like eventually when we want an exit. And I was like, okay, cool. Create a personality for your brand then.
Yeah.
Like what's your personality?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, okay, what is it? And I think he said they were like a German company for, type of food business. I said, okay. On radio, you don't see a person's face, but you know that guy that does, Bing Lee, right?
Yeah, yep.
He's got a personality. He's got an accent.
Yep.
They've got a name. They've built out a family around that and they've built a storyline. Storytelling is like super important. What about that guy, Bob from National Tiles?
Yeah.
Like how iconic is that ad? I'm sure everyone's kind of heard that in their car driving. Yeah. It's his accent.
Yeah.
It's his story. It's repetition. It's consistency. And you just need to follow through. Like you can't just put one video out or even 5 videos out or 10 and be like, I'm done. Oh, it didn't work. It flopped. I only got like 200 views or I only got 800 views. That's still 800 eyeballs.
Oh, it's a lot. Yeah.
And we judge ourselves and we're like, that's not good enough. It's not over 1,000. I mean, I still do that now to myself only because I'm like at a different level. I'm just like, if it doesn't have 1,000 views, it's shit.
Amelia.
No. But then I'm like, okay. I go back to the drawing board. Okay, how can we do it better? Yeah. What's going to actually get the views? And you have to like put yourself in the customer's shoes and say, what do they want to see? Do they want to be entertained? Do they want something humorous? Do they want something educational? What are they going to share? What are they going to engage with?
Yeah.
Those are, I guess, the things that drive my marketing and content strategy and always adding value. I'm very big on educational things, to be honest, like giving value. One podcaster that I kind of grew up listening to was very much about niching, value adding and giving education. And so you build trust and authority with your audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yes, I sell products for cavoodle owners, but I don't just do that.
Yeah.
My mission and my vision is more than that. I'm actually trying to help them throughout all their life stages and all the problems that we have. Cavoodles aren't perfect. Yeah. We're not perfect.
Yeah.
So what are those problems that we're facing on an everyday basis and what do they need help with? Because I assure you multiple of them, like hundreds, would be going through the same thing. So finding that, and knowing who your customer is as well. Yeah. That's like super important. And then telling a really good story about that.
Yeah. I think there's a couple of ways you can do it now as well. I think a lot of founders think, oh, I don't want to show my face. But if you're building a team, you can have those team members.
That's
true.
And
I think you shouldn't really hire a marketing person anymore unless they are interested in growing a brand, a personal brand as well. Because even if that person's with you for a year, they can still add a lot of value to being on your page, helping you grow. I think you've done it really well with your personal brand and it's forever evolving as it should be.
But no, I totally agree. That new ops girl, that was actually one of my, you've obviously, like we've sat with Frank and Jacques Grief and they're building the Kinso app.
Yep.
And so I literally were like, I was like, do your
Do
homework.
that, yeah.
Do your homework. Do that.
Yeah.
I want that. I've told them I am loving your strategy. We need to do more of that. So
yeah, I've said the same to them as well.
to the team. Yeah. So yeah, she'll be coming on board. I already told Amelia today. As soon as she's on board, she's learning content. She's filming it. She's going to be filming me. We need to get everything on camera and just like put it out there.
Yeah, love that. So through your content, we spoke about this a little bit before, but you've really grown this cult following of cavoodle owners. They're extremely loyal to you and the brand. Why do you think that is? And how are you going to continue to create that loyalty with your customers?
I think it's all about trust. I'm not after a quick buck.
Yeah.
Either. I think people can smell that and desperation as well. I'm building something bigger.
Yeah.
I'm building a brand, not just building a business. I want this to be like a household name, Australian recognized brand. I want this bottle sitting in every oodle owner's laundry or, bathroom. And I want people to say really good things about it because word of mouth is everything. Reputation is everything. So that's super important to me.
Yeah.
And I actually, and you know what? And to have a product or service that fulfills what you've promised is super important too.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of crap out there and people overpromise and then underdeliver. I think you need to come good on your promise of what it actually does and show that you care as well. So I was in my DMs talking with a customer last night. I still do it.
Yeah. Can't help yourself.
No, I can't. I'm actually organising some UCG content
with
her because she loves the products, and she's happy to be on camera. And so, I said, when are you bathing your cavoodle next? And she's like, actually this week. And I said, great. Can you tell me why you actually bought my products in the first place? And she just, rattled off all these things that I bought my cavoodle home. I researched, a number of shampoos and conditioners. She actually typed into Google what is the best cavoodle shampoo or conditioner in Australia, and she found mycavoodle. She went through all our reviews and they said all the same thing. They were really good, all 5 stars, where it's kind of like it makes them soft, it detangles knots, and it makes them smell good.
Yeah.
And so the trust, she said, was already there. So she obviously did her homework. And people do. They're not stupid.
Oh, absolutely.
They're going to do their homework. They're going to look at your reviews. They're going to go to a community page and ask. If you've given bad service or you have bad products, someone is going to speak out.
Yeah.
We're not for everyone. We are more premium. We're more expensive for a dog bottle of shampoo. You can spend up
good
to
reason.
Yeah, well, because we made it in Australia. It's made in Sydney. It's not offshore overseas. You don't know what it is. There's regulations. And also I didn't skimp on ingredients at all. When I was going through this whole process, yes, I was bootstrapped. I had only, so many dollars to spend, but I actually didn't go against my values of what needs to be in there. It needed to be a mix of, does this product actually work?
Yeah.
And then listening to what people actually say to what they actually want. So, one thing people always say is, I want a natural fragrance, or I want all the products in there to be all natural, and I want this, this, and this. But then when they use a product that fulfills all that criteria, then they go, oh, it doesn't last.
Yeah.
It doesn't do this. It doesn't do that. So there was a point in my business where I had to say, I need to trust my own gut. And you can listen to people around you, but at the end of the day, you have to also know that your product is going to work and do, and just, but then just be transparent and communicate. So I say that we started with synthetic fragrances. And the reason why I did that is because it lasts longer on the coat. And to be honest, sometimes synthetic fragrances actually irritate the skin less because they're always consistent. They're always made the same. Natural ones always change depending on crops and things like that. And so I've actually launched the 2 different ones, synthetic, and I've launched a natural one. And to be honest, my synthetic one still performs better. And people have sometimes better things to say about that one than the other one, because sometimes people don't always know what they want until you give them to them.
Yeah. So what's next for you and mycavoodle?
I think I've really narrowed it down this year that I want to double in size.
Ooh.
revenue. I want to grow a team onshore. And I still want to, though, run it quite lean.
Yeah.
But I want to take myself out of the day-to-day and get my team to do that.
Yeah.
And I want to work more on the business.
Yeah.
And do the things that I actually love to do day to day, which last year I did a lot of that. I went to a lot of events. I did a lot of networking. I did a lot of content, being out on the street, talking to people, to customers at events. But I've had to come back in, reel it in, look at my numbers and go, okay, what else does the business need?
Yeah.
And so fix my systems, processes to be able to scale to that next stage now.
Yeah. How exciting.
Yeah. It is exciting. It's overwhelming and busy times, but it is exciting too because I know once those things are fixed, like life will hopefully get a lot easier and it'll just be easier to scale.
What does that look like for you being the leader of your business and leading a team? What do you think that day-to-day will look like in 12 months' time?
I'm hoping that there will just be a lot more structure around who does what.
Yeah.
There will also be a bit more of a clearer process about how we answer things and how we generate revenue. So then it's a little bit more consistent. We're not like guessing.
Yeah.
That there's just like more consistency throughout the business, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What do you think you'll be focusing on in 12 months' time? If you want to step out of the business a little bit and focus on other things, what are those other things?
I'd love to keep growing my personal brand.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
That's like a big one. I've seen how important it is to grow a personal brand. Obviously, we've both spoken to like Dane Walker and, you know, he's shown us how important that is with founders and things like that. But even if you look at big brands now, you know, I was mentored by Rachel Wild during like a boa busting.
Yeah, she's coming on the podcast.
Oh, is she? How exciting. Well, you know, she's got a great personal brand and then you see all these other founders that have great personal brands and it feeds the brand. So I started working on that a little bit last year. I invested in a bit of PR and things like that. And I did see ROI in areas, but it's more of a long-term play.
It absolutely is.
But it also helps create that story and build that trust as well in the brand. Yeah. Even though these people might not be buying my shampoo and conditioner, they might not have a cavoodle at that time. At least they know who I am, what I do, who I help, and eventually they might become my target audience or they might know someone who is. Like a great story for that would probably be Jacques Grief that we sat at the founders table. They didn't own a cavoodle. They probably didn't know anyone who did. And the other day I was following his wife and she posted that they were puppy sitting a cavoodle. She ended up getting him and
to keep.
Oh, I love she kept the canoodle. And so I was like, oh my goodness, I need to pay back your generosity over the, you know, all these years, all the advice and all those times they opened up the table to me. And so I sent them a massive PR like gift, not even for anything. Like I didn't even want her to post about it. It was just more to give back, to say like, thank you. I appreciate everything you guys have kind of done for me. Like it was a pivotal moment that changed me as a person, my mindset and my business. I wouldn't be where I was today if we didn't sit at that founders table.
Yeah, me too.
So it was more just a goodwill thing that I was sending it off. Yeah. But it came back unexpectedly where she did this amazing UCG video for me and they both shared it on their stories.
Yeah, wow.
And it's so nice. And I said to him, see, I end up turning every friend into a cavoodle owner. The amount of people that I know over the years that have bought a cavoodle, your parents bought a cavoodle after I met you as well. So many other stories like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I've played like a similar game. It's like I am yes to every opportunity and it's not for lead gen or anything like that. But eventually, the more people you know and the more networking you do, and I honestly think this is where a lot of founders need to get to, it's growing that personal brand, it's the networking, and yes, they might not want to have their face on camera. It does absolutely help. But if they can remove themselves a little bit from the day-to-day of the business, have a team in place, and they spend their time networking, going to events, you know, doing content, it will help massively. And I think people stop because they don't see that ROI really quickly.
Yeah. Yep.
It is such a long-term play. And I've got clients now, they're like, oh, I've been following you for years. It's just that long-term play. But
it's consistency.
Yeah.
They trust you. It's that you've become an authority in your space and they know who to go to when they need your service or your product.
Yeah. I think it's getting really hard for people. A lot of people don't want to follow a brand on social media unless the brand is doing really amazing things like Kinzo. That's different.
Yeah.
But a lot of people won't go and follow like Virgin Airlines, but they'll follow, what's his name?
The content is boring. Adam Sullivan or something like that. He's doing evidence as well. Like they'll go follow him for he's always got something to tell. There's always some sort of drama or content or he's always doing something. It's entertaining. Yeah. That's right. So I think you got to hit those pillars that, entertaining, humorous, storytelling, educational, and find, I guess, what your customers love the most and resonate with, and then just like duplicate it.
Totally. Okay, so a question we ask every guest on the podcast: if you had to start again tomorrow with just $10,000, which is what you did,
which is what I started with.
So if you had to do it all again, what would be the first 3 hires you make and why?
I don't think I would change it. I don't think I'd change it.
I love that.
I think my content girl. My content girly. And my VA. And my third hire was a contractor as well in like a marketing space that I could hand over something that was taking away. Maybe that would be the only thing I would change. If I was able to get to where I was faster, I probably would hire that person right next to me who was an all-rounder as well to help me in the day-to-day. So then I could really kind of step out that if I completely disappeared out of the business, that they would know every little bit about it, about who to go to and where, that they could run it onshore for me. Because that would probably bring a lot of peace of mind. But you probably don't need someone with a lot of experience, like I said, to do that. You just need someone who's a good person, who can handle responsibility, who can take ownership, who's mature enough to do that, and that you trust. So hopefully this young person is that person for me.
For you. But if it's not, you'll learn something from it and you'll find the next person, because I think you've realised how valuable that role is for you. So for you, it was content, marketing and content. VA to take those.
Customer service.
Customer service, VA to take those. All those emails off you, and then like an ops manager to run beside you for a while.
Like an all-rounder. If it's not an ops, it's a marketing manager that can kind of help you do it all, whether that's helping you send out the emails. They can step into that customer service. If you're still packing orders at that time, they can help you pack orders. They could do the content for you as well. Like I think you can just you underestimate how important that kind of person is. So
totally. What's your one piece of advice for anyone listening that's growing an e-commerce business?
Good question. I think it would be to stick in there. It can be really difficult at times. People think e-commerce is like, oh my God, they are rolling in money, these people. It's not like that. It's not a service-based business where you kind of, there's expenses, don't get me wrong, in a service-based business, and, but the margins are a lot more, profit and margins, right? In an e-commerce products-based business, it doesn't always work like that. If you were doing everything yourself, there's a lot more to play with. As soon as you start delegating, that's when things start getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So that's where you got to kind of like push through that barrier and go, okay, how can I what's the lever that I need to pull to take it to that next level? And I was actually talking to a startup founder in my DMs yesterday about this, and she's in the same position I was about probably 2-3 years ago. And I was just giving her some advice about that she just needs to stick in it. My advice was actually to make a first hire, which was a VA to delegate out her customer service and the admin tasks that's holding her back in the business. So then that way she can actually work on revenue generating things and get out there and, learn actually new things about whatever it is, ads, email, become specialized in certain things, master it, and then give that to your VA or, a contractor or someone else.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're going to grow. You can't do it all by yourself.
Yeah. You can for a point, and then
you can for a point until it gets to a tipping point, and then you're like, and then you become desperate, and then you hire the wrong people when you're desperate.
Totally. You've really got to start before you feel ready.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Where can people find you if they want to follow along your journey on mycavoodle?
Yeah, so you can find me at mycavoodle.com.au. Mm-hmm. That is my profile on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. But if you want to follow my personal journey, it's just Bella Moro on Instagram.
Love that. We'll put it all in the show notes. But thank you so much for joining me.
No worries. Thanks, Jess.